So hi everybody, I am Sudhanwa or Sam, and I study Aerospace Engineering in the Technical University of Munich, and this course is fully in English.
Hi, I'm Kerem, and I study informatic, aka computer science, at the Technical University of Munich, TUM, and the course is in German.
I it's really started in eighth grade. I wanted to become a pilot actually, but it's not a very future safe job. You know, it can get automated, so that's why I wanted to have a backup plan. So as I liked engineering, like building stuff, I chose to do aerospace because I was really passionate about airplanes.
Yeah, I didn't always know what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to do something technical, either engineering or computer science or so. And I kind of just thought to myself, what do I see myself doing in the future? Would I be able to wake up every day and do something related to engineering? And I kind of felt that wasn't really what I wanted. And ever since I was small, I kind of always liked computer science and stuff. I never thought about studying it, but kind of looking through all the options, that one was the one that really like spoke out to me. So that's what I decided to do.
I mean, I would say just have an open mind, keep doing research. You know, try out a few courses. Actually, there are good websites such as EDX. You know, there's like course on in business, engineering, computer science. Just try them out and just get a gift and see what you like, and just make a short list, make some pros and cons list, and yeah, yeah, and you can decide what you want to study.
I'd say everything Sam said was good. I'd also add that you should look at if there's any unis that you're interested in, but you're not sure what you want to study. Look at what the courses, like the classes throughout the semesters are for one particular area, because sometimes like a general topic might seem good to you, but some of the courses will might really challenge you or it might not interest you that much, and you could pick something similar, like in a similar area that's still like it's the same field, but you have different courses. And also say like speak to people, try and like find people or research on internet on forums and discussions and stuff about like people who have studied this and what they say about it and whether they think, if the workload's too much or after uni, how is like finding work and stuff like that. For applying to Germany, with the IB diploma, it's very doable. It's a bit of work, but I essentially had to go through this website called Uni Assist, where you send your IB transcripts. It's really like laid out on the website. It's really not difficult to follow the instructions. And they give you this document called the Vorprüfungsdokumentation. It's essentially where they calculate your grade, they convert it to the German like Abitur note. And with that, once you get that, you go on like the uni's websites. For some unis, for example, Technical University of Berlin, I applied to that too. Uni Assist, you can do the whole application only through Uni Assist. But for example, for our uni for TUM, you have to go to their website and there's an application process there, and you get this document from Uni Assist, you upload it there, and they list out all the documents that you really need. And it's quite a simple process. You just upload the documents and you don't like, for example, for me, I didn't need to write a motivation letter. I didn't need to write anything like that. I just need to make a CV, my grades, and some legal documents. And honestly, it's pretty simple once you find where the links are. That's the hardest part, just finding where you have to upload stuff and how you can, like, how you get started in the process. It's very important to do stuff early because, especially in Germany, everything takes forever and everything's done by paper sometimes, and you have to mail stuff. So you should really try and do it for that, like way before deadlines. I kind of let it stay a bit too late, and then Uni Assist, they messed up one of my documents where they gave me a wrong grade, and I had to call them back and get it changed, and it was really stressful because it was getting really close to the deadlines for application and I was worried that I would miss them. So definitely do everything early and look over all of the documents, especially if it's coming from a different source, from like UniAssist. Check over every detail and make sure that it's all correct. Otherwise, yeah, because they do make mistakes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Karam. uni assist was a bit of a pain because I submitted my documents. At first they rejected the document saying I'm missing a few of them. So then I had to resubmit, and then they um, they gave me the document 5 days before the deadline. So that was the real stressy bit. The application in the TUM website was very intuitive and very easy. And also, coming to the researching of the universities, I was actually planning to go to the Netherlands, but there's a big housing crisis. It's very tough to find a house there. So, and Germany, you're closer to your home, and it's easy to travel in Germany. So, and yeah, finding a house also is not that bad. So that's why I chose Munich. And it also had my favorite subject at home, so that worked out well.
For example, for me, I don't know how it was for Sam, but I had to get a additional German certificate, language certificate, because in the IB, I only did German B standard level, and that wasn't enough to get recognized as like that I had enough sufficient German knowledge. So I learned in my free time with like tutors, and I studied German in my free time and then I wrote an exam for TELC, Deutsch C1, where you just pass an exam. It depends on the uni what requirements they have. Sometimes they want C2, sometimes C1. Some even are okay with B2. But yeah, for me, if you're studying in German, they want to see a German language certificate. But they didn't ask for anything for English.
Well, for me, there was no requirement for German. Well, I just needed to add my transcripts because the German level for English courses is A2. And unlike Kerem, I had to write a motivation letter. And I also have to do something called a pre-internship, where you basically go work for 8 weeks. And it's not compulsory to like add it in your application. You need to basically do it before the 5th semester.
Uh, don't really be afraid if a course that you want to apply for is in German. Like my German was really not good, and I studied it a lot in my free time and stuff, and I still kind of was worried that it wasn't going to be enough and I was going to fall behind in classes. But honestly, like once you go into the classes, like after a few weeks, you get used to it. It's really not that big of a difference from studying in English. Like, don't let that put you off from studying in Germany because Germany has so many great universities and they're all like really like affordable and accessible. And I'd say don't let the language scare you off in a sense. It's really not that
Uh,
big of a deal at the end of the day.
yeah, I agree with Kerem. German universities are very underrated. In UK universities, they market how they have a wind tunnel, they have a flight simulator and stuff. In TUM, they actually have all of those, but they never market that. And yeah, language-wise, yeah, I agree with Karan. And also, I would suggest to do a bit of research because you will find some universities that are offering English courses. Because during my research, I found like uh, four, including TUM, that offer English courses. So it's basically an 8-week internship in a company with the topics of manufacturing, product development, and operations. So you can basically uh, divide it up. So for example, 4 weeks manufacturing, 4 weeks product development and stuff like that. And you need to basically write a report.
Yeah, I didn't need to do it for computer science. I had seen that for example, by Goethe Aachen and stuff, they also wanted internships. But for 2M for computer science, I didn't need to do something like that. It really depends on the course and uni.
I would suggest very early because they take a lot of time. I would suggest, you know, just after you get your predicted grade, start applying to universities.
Hmm Yeah, it's a bit of a weird system where the timing of the IB and uni assistant stuff don't really match up. I waited till after I got my like official grades because I was like I didn't really know how it worked. I wasn't certain if they would take predicteds. So I used my official grades, and for TUM like the deadlines were barely enough to give us enough time to use the actual grades, and you send a transcript to uni assist, and yeah, I mean just do it as soon as you can once you get your official grades. I'm not sure, maybe if the system changes, maybe you can do it with predicteds, but mostly like with German unis and stuff, they do want like the actual official ones and not predicted grades.
I think you can do it with your predicted grades
Okay,
because
okay.
what they just do is they just verify you, they verify the document, and they just wait for your real ID. So
That is
basically,
true, yeah.
IB has an option where you can choose 6 universities to which they directly send your grades to them. So just remember to choose Uni Assist as one of those 6 options so that
Hmm.
the grade gets directly sent to Uni Assist.
Yeah, ask Miss thought about that for how you can access the IB website where you can send the transcripts. But also, it's not only just Uni Assist. For example, for WTH Aachen, they don't really do it through Uni Assist. You have to do it to their own stuff. So you have to make sure you specifically send it to them too. It really depends on the uni. And yeah, I think, sorry, Sam was right. You can do it with predictors, I think. I didn't do that, so I'm not really sure how that works, but yeah. I'd say definitely look for housing early because it is still in Germany it's very competitive. And for example, with us, there are some like housing provided by the student unions and stuff, but they have like year long or longer than 1 year wait lists, and it's just really competitive and hard to find housing. And for example, for me, I applied late and got my confirmation late, and it was really stressful trying to find somewhere to stay last minute. And I had even considered I might have to stay at a hotel, like cheap hotel or something for like 1 or 2 months until I could find a place. If you're like already certain where you want to go, like which uni, which city, I would definitely start looking already now, to be honest. It's as soon as possible. It's really competitive.
Yeah, so I also had a similar experience to Karam. One thing I would like to add to that is always have a backup university because I had one university that I really wanted to go to, but unfortunately I got rejected. And because of that, I was not able to find housing really early. That was pretty stressful for me as well. So yeah, always have a backup university as well, and then find housing in both cities so that you don't struggle if you don't get into your favorite university.
I mean, as I said already, just doing stuff earlier, I was really indecisive early on, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do Germany or UK and stuff. So I let it kind of, and I'm a procrastinator by nature, so I
Yeah.
always let it slide to the back, and that just made it a lot more stressful. So just do everything early, even like just apply. Applying in Germany doesn't cost that much. Just do it early, and if you change your mind later on, you don't have to go, but just make sure you do stuff on time. That's probably the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, basically, as I said, I didn't have a backup university, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna get into my favorite university. It's not gonna matter. And then I got rejected, and that was like a big hit
Yeah.
because I was already like searching housing in the place, but now I had to like change everything, had to like apply to another university and then find housing there. It was pretty bad. And like before applying to TUM, I was actually supposed to go to Eindhoven, the Technical University of Eindhoven. And as I said, the housing there was impossible.
Terrible.
And then I found TUM and I applied to it. And yeah, thankfully I got in. I mean, like first semester is a bit stressful for aerospace because we have 2 subjects which we only have 2 tries for. we need to pass it in those 2 tries, or else you're out of the course.
Okay.
So, and then social life, man, it's fun. You have a lot of freedom, and you can just go out with your friends and do whatever you want. It's amazing.
I definitely agree. I mean, for us also first semester, we have like certain exams that we have to pass for the first semester. It's like a kind of like where they filter people out. So it's kind of stressful in that regard, but just the freedom of getting to live by yourself or potentially with friends. I live alone. Um, and getting to do whatever you want, whenever you want. And there's no like mandatory requirements to show up to class sometimes. Of course, you should show up. I advise that you go to all your classes, but there's just so much freedom and you can really just live your life and do whatever you want. And the people are great. There's so many people at the university that you're bound to find someone that you click with. Like, for example, for me, I was kind of worried about that there would only be I was just worried that I wouldn't be able to make friends in German or like be able to talk in German and like make the same connections. But there's international people, there's people from everywhere, and it's really nice. You can meet a lot of people, and it's just a great time.
Yeah, like making friends in uni, I have another point to add. Like on the first days, like I experienced a bit. It was a bit tough for me because you go with a group and then they're also not sure if you're gonna click. So and in the middle they just leave you, and you need to like find more friends again. And yeah, at the start it's a bit tough, but like once you click, it's amazing.
The classes themselves aren't like this, the material isn't too much harder. The only problem is they're like the lectures are kind of short and they put a lot of information in each lecture. So it's kind of like you have to keep up with it, and if you miss one, then you like forget stuff about the next one, and like it's really hard to stay on top of the work. It's not necessarily harder material. Of course, it is like more advanced stuff, but especially if it's a course like computer science, which we didn't have at MSF for IB, and they say that you never had to take it before. They do start like from beginning, so it is for everyone.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean the workload, for example, we had weekly programming assignments. That took a lot of time. So you do have to be aware of that. For some courses, you do have some like outside of lecture time work that will eat up your free time.
We have like 350 students in a lecture.
Wow.
and
Huge.
and we had some professors that had really bad handwriting.
Oh, no.
So you were taking notes. If you look down writing notes and you look up, professor is going to be in a totally different topic.
Wow.
Like they
Yeah,
write really fast, and you don't understand what they're writing sometimes.
it's the same with us. For example, in our course, we have like 1,500 students right now. And it's just like it's so much different than what you're used to in school, where you can like the teacher personally and you can always ask questions and stuff. For us at the beginning, some of the professors like told us, do not contact us, don't email us, don't call us, don't do anything. And if you have questions, first ask your peers and then ask like the upper year students who are like they have like tutors and stuff, ask them. And then like worst case emergency scenarios, then ask us. It's really jarring how more independent you have to be and how they just let you kind of free, and
Yeah.
it's just very different from school.
Yeah, I personally really like the teaching method at SUM because we
Hmm.
have lectures where they cover the theoretical stuff. Then we have something called the central exercises where they introduce examples and actually teach you how to apply those formulas to solve the problems. And then you have tutors where you basically are given a worksheet and you need to solve them, and you have your seniors who help you. And that I found was really good.
I do miss about NSF how like tight knit and like you knew everyone at the school, you were friends with everyone. I do miss that kind of like community feeling sometimes because it does feel a lot more like it's an institution where
Mm.
everyone like there's so many people, you see new people every day, you don't know like many of them. And I do miss that part of MSF. But on the other hand, it is also really fun to meet new people and like there's just so many opportunities.
Yeah, I agree with Karam. MSF was like a community. You know everybody. You knew your teachers. Like here, you have classes with 350 people sitting together and watching the lecture, and like there's no time for questions. And that's what I really miss about MSF. It was very close.
First off, for extracurriculars, it's really different from like US or UK and stuff. For me, they never even ask for any of it. Like you mentioned some of it in your CV and stuff, but what they're really focused on is just your grade, which for me, I kind of found that better. That's what I was more leaning towards. I had some extracurriculars, but not too many. But for my course, it might be different for other courses, but for mine, they basically didn't care about that at all. And for IB grades, um, I can't really say an exact number, but I think like it's really not, you don't need like stellar super high grades. They're more, they're lenient with who they let in and they kind of like filter people out through the courses themselves. So you can get in relatively easily and it's just how hard it is that many people drop out. So that's how they lower the amount of people.
Hmm.
And if you don't have enough grades, there's like two stages to it for my application. If you have enough grades, you can just get in no problem. But if you're just below that mark, there's like a buffer zone where they allow you to take an extra exam. And if your grades aren't enough, if you pass that exam, then you can get in like that also. So there's a lot of
Uh,
opportunities.
yeah, same for aerospace, but in aerospace, just like UK, they really look at your how reach how well you know your subject. Uh, do you really show your passion into that subject you want to study? And in terms of the grade, for aerospace, it would be better if you have something about 37 to like get in straight away, or else you do an interview. But I heard from some of my other friends who also did IB, they said the interview was pretty chill. I mean, it's pretty similar to like school, like it's pretty normal to study in English, but like sometimes it's funny. The professors don't know certain words in English, so they say something in German, and yeah, you need to pay a bit attention to that,
Hmm.
and you ask your German friends. Actually, the interesting thing in my course, half of the students are German
Wow, a
who
lot.
studied Abitur.
Also, one thing to keep in mind is, for example, my course, it's technically in German, but especially with like tech stuff and computer science, as you go on, some of the courses do become English. For example, in our second semester, next semester, we have one course already that's going to be in English. And a lot of the professors and like the tutors and stuff, they do know English. For example, for some of our exams, they say the exams are in German, but you can answer in English. And you're allowed to bring a dictionary into the exam with you, with whatever language you want to German. So there's a lot of like help that you can have. Like you can answer in English, and later on, like probably fourth, fifth semester, a lot of stuff, a lot of the lectures will be in English, and your bachelor thesis and stuff, you can write that in English. So it's not like 100% German. You still have like flexibility. My course is 6 semesters long. That is the recommended amount of time. You can extend it to I think 9 semesters, but the normal, if you follow the timeline, you're supposed to finish in 6 semesters, which is 2 semesters per year, so 3 years.
Yeah, same for me. It's 6 semesters. You can extend it to 8 semesters.
Um, they said that you don't need any knowledge before, and for our first semester, we started with Java as the one where we had weekly assignments. We learned Java there, and in another class, which was computer architecture, they taught us assembly and VHDL, which is like more like logic gates and building CPUs and stuff. And but mainly we did Java. I think next semester we'll be doing a little bit of Python and C, if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly. But I think Java is like in Germany, especially, it's like kind of the general language because my cousin also studied computer science and she told me they were doing Java too. So that's what we did our first semester essentially.
Okay.
We also have programming. So we are doing C++ and the MATLAB.
Yes, it would definitely help. If we had that option, I would have taken it at MSF. You don't necessarily need it, like you can get by without doing it, but I had also done some like not studying, but I had like learned a bit by myself before because I was just interested. But for example, I have some friends who never did any computer science in school and never programmed before, and they're kind of like struggling compared to other friends who had computer science as like, and not IB, but just computer science as a class in high school. So it definitely helps. I would recommend to take it, but you don't necessarily need it. And you don't need it for applications. I didn't have it, but that was not a problem. You just need math and yeah,
Yeah,
really math's the
even
most important one.
I personally struggled in programming. So because before joining uni, I learned Python, but in university we studied C++, and the syntax of C++ and Python is really different. And I think C++ is a bit more complicated as well. So that was a bit tough for me.
I'd say yeah, to an extent where it does help you, like after you've been through the IB, you feel like anything uni throws at you is not really a challenge anymore. Like you can really handle whatever they throw at you. But I'd say like it would help a lot for US systems and UK potentially, but unfortunately, I think for German system, for German unis, I think IB it's a little bit of a mismatch. It doesn't like fit exactly with how they teach like the methods because IB focuses a lot on like all kinds of courses and like TOK, CAS and stuff. But for us, like the only courses I have are computer science and math courses. So it's a lot like kind of like A levels where you pick subjects that you focus on. It's kind of like that. So it's a bit of a mismatch, but it gives you the soft skills and general knowledge, which always helps.
Yeah, for me, IB really helped for me in maths, especially because like we have some students who didn't even learn complex numbers at school, and we were like introduced to that concept uh, in our math class.
Yeah.
And also in the engineering stuff, especially in physics, taking physics HL was really helpful. I think it would have been more helpful if I studied chemistry HL, because in the second semester we're going to learn thermodynamics, and there's going to be a lot of applications of enthalpy, entropy, and stuff like that.
That is
Oh,
true. That is true. For example, I did math A high level, and that really helps with like because they give so much knowledge in the IB. That does make it easier at the beginning, where you don't have to like you've seen a lot of the stuff. For example, some of my friends had never seen induction, proof by induction and stuff, and we had already done that in the IB, so that does help. Yeah, that is that is a unfortunate concern where, for example, at TUM especially, the boy to girl ratio is there's a lot of boys, especially in like computer science or tech courses. But it's not like as crazy as you would expect it. For example, I think at TUM it's 40% to 60%, maybe a bit lower. But I definitely wouldn't not recommend it just because there's a disparity. That's like at the end of the day, that doesn't really concern that much, and people are friends with not only from people in your course, but other courses and other like universities in the city too. And yes, there are more boys in like the technical courses, but at the end of the day, it's not that big of a problem.